I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. All right, you've heard about the razor wire down on the southern border that the state of Texas and the United States of America put up to keep the immigrants from crossing the Rio Grande into either Arizona or into Texas. You probably heard about the wall that Tribulation Trump said he was going to build to stop the immigrants from coming across from Mexico, from down in Guatemala, down in Nicaragua, El Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, and Venezuela. And many people have thought how awful that is, and you may have your opinion about that one way or the other. But can I share something with you? Can I tell you what Mayor Eric Adams and the New York City officials have done to the homeless people here in New York? Can I tell you they've actually set up architectural barriers to make being homeless in New York City a scream. They have set up benches, spikes. They have foreclosed. They've taken away seating. They've made it impossible for you to find any rest or comfort if you're homeless in New York. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the engineer. By the way, thank you, Bob Jackson. Thank you so very much, Tennessee Bob. I'm going to ask the engineer to roll a clip, and I'm just going to sit and just let you listen to it, and then we can have some dialogue. But here's the setting. Everybody's screaming about how awful it is that barbed wire fence has been put up on the border and that Donald Trump wants to build a wall to stop the immigrants from coming to New York, coming to America, rather. I want to show you what Eric Adams and New York City officials have done to drive homeless people into the river. They have no peace, no place to sleep, no place to sit, not on the streets of New York City. Listen, watch this very carefully. It's gonna be shocking that Eric Adams has participated in this. Go ahead, Mr. Engineer.
What the heck are these things? And why are there 5 of them?
The goal was to prevent homeless from sleeping under this bridge. Instead, it backlashed with outrage from the town.
Armrests in the middle of benches to large rocks added underneath bridges. Homeless advocates call these designs hostile architecture or anti-homeless.
In London and Paris, you see spikes on windowsills. In D.C., a curved bench.
Hostile architecture is when cities put features in the architecture to try to keep homeless people away.
Spikes that would hurt people seems like a bad idea.
So this looks like a metal covering for the subway vent, which is underneath it. At first I thought it was a bench, but you can really only sit on this corner of it. You'll notice that the top of this is incredibly uneven, and then there's these raised ridges which are on all 5 of them. And what happens if you try to lay down on it? Is that even possible? Oh, that is like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced. This ridge right here is going into my spine, and that's on purpose, and this is called hostile architecture. And critics of hostile architecture say that usually these types of installations are cruel and unnecessary because they target the needy. And we're gonna look at a whole bunch of examples of this. Subway benches that serve no purpose, a train station designed to make you go crazy, and several parks that look nice, but were designed to be so uncomfortable that you'll leave after 5 or 10 minutes, and they're all here in New York. Now, hostile or defensive architecture consists of public installations like this, which are designed to do one thing while preventing another thing. This right here is a normal uncovered subway grate, and in the wintertime when it's cold out, someone with nowhere to go might want to use an area like this to help keep warm because warm air comes out of here. And right now, New York City is experiencing record homelessness. And lately, both private developers and the city have been building all sorts of things like this, but they've got to be really sneaky about it because when I found out what these were, it made made me pretty uncomfortable to realize that they were specifically designed to stop people who have nothing from staying warm in the wintertime. Is that okay? And sometimes when cities build stuff like this, people find out and get really upset. New York City gets pretty cold in the wintertime, and the subway is a place where needy New Yorkers go when they have nowhere else to go so that they don't freeze. And yes, the city has shelters, but they have a rather poor reputation, and because of New York's asylum crisis, the shelter system's already maxed out. And since the shelters are perceived as being dangerous, it makes tons of sense that people would rather take their chances in a place like this. And removing subway benches doesn't do anything to make people less homeless. They're still homeless, even if you remove the benches, and they've still got nowhere to go. And most critics of these types of policies, they want a clean subway too, but they don't really think it's fair to take from people who already have so little. And the city's subsequent removal of benches here and reinstallation of different benches, that basically let the city know that if they're gonna do stuff like this, they've gotta be sneakier about it, and they have been. This isn't really comfortable. I can't believe whoever designed this calls this a bench and got away with it. It's actually like a barrier if you think about it. This is the Highline Park, and it's actually a park built upon an old railway track, which means many parts of it are skinny and narrow, but it's also very long. It goes like 15 blocks. And I'm guessing that these barrier benches serve to move the flow of traffic down the park. And I guess they don't want big groups inside these little triangle areas. Oh, look, another awkward place to sit. I feel like I'm a little close to the traffic here. And this is what happens if you try to lay down on it. Look, my shoulders and arms are falling off the side. What a bizarre way to construct something. There's no way you're gonna sit on a bench like this for very long. Maybe just long enough to eat a sweet green salad. And look at this geometric nightmare right here. I bet people were getting hurt on this thing. That's why they had to rope it off. You can see that these two benches are basically here to tell this traffic to go this way and to have this traffic come this way. Only someone with a college degree could have come up with this. I know because I have a degree. Is that really how we want to build things? Should we build things in New York in a way that maybe doesn't lower everyone's standard of living all at the exact same time? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
All right, I would stay silent the entire 14 minutes. That's a very long piece. But I thought it was very educational, and I thought you would want to know about that. But can I just tell you something? That what you saw was the mindset of the rich and the famous and the powerful to drive the homeless and poor people out of the city or into death. In other words, there is now these devil, if you will, these evil architects, and who are now working in conjunction with the likes of Eric Adams, and he's just the mayor, not right now, and multi-million-dollar corporations who don't want homeless people on the streets of New York. So to sum up, there are no park benches. There is no place for homeless people to get warmth. They've taken benches out of the subway station because homeless people sleep on them. Any place, there's no place except the flat street where homeless people sleep. The bottom line here is that there's a move afoot to drive poor people and homeless people out of the city of New York. That's why ATLAH is so important. You got to listen to me. You got to stop being Black Lives Matter crazy, black racism crazy. You got to stop this hating white folk crazy all your life. And you got to listen to me. If Jesus don't come back, you won't be here in New York City. I don't know where you're going to be, but you will not be in New York City. And the Fort Greene houses will be torn down. That's not going to happen. These multi-million-dollar buildings going up in Harlem, they're not going to let the Martin Luther King houses, the Taft houses, the Abraham Lincoln houses, the Manhattanville houses, the St. Nicholas, they're not going to let those houses stay there. And you run around here talking this Black Lives Matter talk, this black talk, and following that freak called Al Sharpton. 20 years from now, you won't be able to live in New York City unless you help me with ATLAH. When are you going to wake up? I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm here on 123rd Street. I'm the Lord's servant. Come to our church, 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings, and hear the truth that'll make you free. Praise Almighty God.